He was basically a top 50 to top 100, depending on whose rankings you look at before the draft. Wide receiver coming out of Texas, started at Alabama, and then went to UT. Obviously, Matthew Golden went in the first round from that wide receiver room at Texas. He went to the Green Bay Packers. Isaiah Bond wasn't drafted, however, because in early April, there was a sexual assault allegation against him in Texas. He sued, claiming defamation. That got thrown out. Fast forward to today, Isaiah Bond without a football team, and prosecutors in Texas, Charles, back to your no-bill thing, issued a no-bill, meaning we've decided to not pursue this case further because we do not believe that we could prosecute this case and get a conviction before a jury. So, no bill, Isaiah Bond basically cleared, free now of his legal issues. Isaiah Bond shortly thereafter posted on Instagram and on Twitter that he would like to thank Jimmy Haslam, owner of the Cleveland Browns, and that he is going to sign with the Browns. He's not signing with the Browns today. That is not going to happen. Mary Kay Cabot, beat writer, Cleveland.com, used to be known as the Plain Dealer, reports tonight that the Browns have done due diligence. They certainly liked him as a football player coming out of the draft. And when you run a 4-3 or whatever, and you make big plays for the Texas Longhorns, certainly you're going to like him. However, don't believe what Isaiah Bond is selling right now. Mary Kay Cabot says that while the Browns have certainly looked into it, they are not signing him today. So maybe the player jumped the gun here. Regardless, he is talented. Somebody will sign him. Charles, it might be the Browns, but right now they're pushing back against that.
Well, I mean, Andrew, who's the offensive coordinator of the Browns, right? There's a connection there. So, I mean, I think there's no doubt that he would like to play, for the Browns. And frankly, you could argue there's a need for the Browns. I think the Browns could use depth at wide receiver. And as you said, he was a player who, I think there were varying opinions on him in the draft, but I feel like his basement in the draft was a third round pick, right? And there were certainly teams that I think would have liked to have taken a look at him maybe later in the second round. A guy who's got speed, not a ton of size. I mean, in terms of height, he's like a 5'11" guy, but he does have that 4.4 sub 4.4 speed, which is that'll get you a lot of shots in the NFL, and that will definitely drive you up draft boards. Played big roles at two programs when you talk about Alabama and Texas. So I think for him, this is frankly the best possible outcome of this, right? I mean, to have fallen out of the draft when you could have been, I think, again, the basement on you was really a third round assessment. To have fallen completely out of the draft is rare. And I think in those instances, it causes particularly maybe some teams that haven't done their full due diligence, but I think all kind of knew what was at the table at that point, causes everybody to sit there and go, okay, this is really serious, because especially when you get in those later rounds, you do have franchises that are like, we'll take a shot and see exactly what's going to unfold here legally, and maybe burn a seventh round draft pick. Teams didn't even want to do that in this situation. So for him to get the no bill and move forward and now have an opportunity to talk to teams, and now move forward into his NFL career is about the best he possibly could have asked for. And I have no doubt that I'd be shocked if he was not signed by a team by the time we have the first week of the season rolls around.
Yeah, absolutely. You go from, like you said, it is interesting that he fell completely out of the draft, that not one team would even use a seventh rounder on him. But yes, teams will be lining up. He has the talent. You're basically getting at worst, a third round pick kind of for free now, if you can live with the PR hits and all that kind of stuff. And if you've done your due diligence, and we'll see which team it is. But yes, he gets to choose where he goes now. And instead of some team using a seventh round pick on him, and there's honestly probably teams that are like, we should have just used a seventh round pick on him and lived with the result one way or another, because, only one gets to sign him now.
You mentioned the connection there, Charles, just buttoning that up. But Tommy Rees, offensive coordinator for the Browns this year, was the OC 2 years ago for Alabama. Last year, he was the Browns tight end coach. This year, bumped up to OC. So, yes, there is a connection there.